Deathloop was one of my most anticipated games of 2021. I'm a huge fan of Arcane Studios and their previous efforts with Prey, the Dishonored series, and even Dark Messiah Might and Magic. And there's no doubt that we're currently living in the golden age of time loop based experiences with the likes of The Outer Wilds, 12 Minutes, and Returnal, tasking players with reliving the same set of events over and over, with the knowledge retained of each loop being the most important weapon in your arsenal. Arcane has admittedly tried their hands at this concept too, with the Mooncrash DLC for Prey, that I, like so many others, never got around to experiencing. And with Deathloop already looming on the horizon, I figured that this had to be the best time loop experience that money could buy. And to be fair, the elevator pitch of this game, being that you're a supernatural assassin cursed with reliving the same day again and again, lest he seeks out and murders 8 targets over the course of a single day, in a sort of murder puzzle, is the type of ingenuity that screams Arcane Studios. Slap on a Dark Souls-like invasion mechanic and a retro-futuristic vibe, akin to the masterpiece that is Time Splitters 2, and the decision to pick up Deathloop on day one was a no-brainer for me, especially after the review scores started trickling in. And yet, I've beaten Deathloop once and I have absolutely no desire whatsoever to do it again. The satisfying as hell shooting, fun abilities, and strong level design simply can't reel me in for a second playthrough no matter how much I want. And the reason for it is shockingly simple. Deathloop has no replay value to speak of. None, zero, capiche. The promise of a so-called murder puzzle is a hollow one to say the least, as the actual premise of breaking free of this Groundhog Day scenario with machine guns and superpowers falls short once you start to peel away the layers of Deathloop. See, when I think of a puzzle in a game like this, I think of something like the opening level of Deus Ex, where the solution to each objective holds a plethora of options, and where choices can be made depending on your desired playstyle. Deathloop doesn't provide that to the same degree. This is a kill-all game where the golden path to achieving the necessary body count quite literally never changes. But not only does Deathloop not offer any non-lethal solutions to any given problem, it also offers little to no levity when it comes to letting you decide how you want to deal with the 8 visionaries that are wreaking havoc on Black Reef Island. I can pick my desired loadout and abilities that I've been able to infuse across loops, but how I go about fitting the ranks of these visionaries is left entirely in the hands of the developers and not the player. For instance, one visionary named Frank has planned to set up a fireworks show just outside Alexis' masquerade party that takes place at night, and the only way to kill him is to first sabotage his fireworks, resulting in his untimely death at the outskirts of the island. On my first initial playthrough, when the game instructed me to sabotage said fireworks, I thought, maybe this isn't the only way. But uh-oh, if you fail to rig the fireworks or advance time forward without doing so, you literally get a mission failed status, forcing you to reset the day and act accordingly. You can't kill him in any other way. If games like the aforementioned Deus Ex are like a complicated multi-stage puzzle, where tons of scattered pieces can fit together in different ways, Deathloop is quite literally a child's puzzle with like 8 pieces in total. You can only fix it in one predetermined way and that's it. Same thing with the love story quests surrounding Charlie and Fia. The game tasks you to funnel these 2 visionaries in the same room so you can get to jump on them both. Ideal? Definitely. But what if I want to make it harder for myself and kill them individually? Nope, you can't do that. They have to be at the same place at the same time. Failing to enact on this opportunity and it's the same outcome. You failed, start the day over. This is especially disappointing considering that Deathloop gives you a massive amount of different breadcrumbs to follow, in the form of optional leads that initially give you the impression that each target can be killed in multiple ways. The only exception to this rule is Alexis, where you can choose to stealthily assassinate him once you identify him, or wait for him to pull his shtick at the stage and drop him to the meat grinder. But you can't under any circumstances off him outside of his party. He's destined to attend regardless, and stripping you of this freedom to kill your targets, however you like, feels underwhelming for an Arcane project to say the least. Sure, there is the choice of going in quietly or guns blazing when approaching your targets, but their time of death and place of death is never something you can influence. On top of that, Deathloop's way of handling its time loop mechanic also feels somewhat undercooked. You're never doing anything in a pressure cooker, as time quite literally stands still once you're in any given level. Time only moves forward when you're exiting and choose your next destination, meaning that there's no sense of urgency to be had. And I also found the many optional leads that allow you to pursue different weapons to be little more than busy work. I had my preferred weapons of choice fully upgraded about halfway through the game, and building your arsenal of abilities and firearms only takes a handful of hours, resulting in most of the game feeling like too much of a pushover. Does that mean that Deathloop is a bad game? No. No on every account. I love the shooting, with weapons that sound downright cacophonous. The abilities and your arsenal also allow you to pull off some really satisfying kills, and both the level design, art style, and soundtrack reeks of the type of quality I've come to expect from developer Arcane. And I will admit that on my first playthrough, I was intensely invested in this puzzle. I was so curious to see how the finale would play out and how my choices would impact the outcome of this loop, only to then have the game end on a whimper of an ending before putting you right back before the final loop, where the game more or less reveals that yep, these are all the steps needed in order to beat the time loop. No alternate solutions provided. And upon replaying the game for the purpose of this video, scouring areas for clues, recordings, notes, and the like, knowing exactly what they implicate and where the game funnels me next, it once again became obvious that this is, for better or worse, an extremely hand-holdy experience. No possibilities for subterfuge or non-lethal takedowns. No way of getting the jump on your targets outside of their fixed areas. It all feels so linear. And yet, I had a lot of fun with Deathloop. The core DNA that makes Arcane Studios games so great are on full display here. And as someone who adores the immersive sim genre and loves skulking about, treating every encounter like a potential highlight reel, Deathloop gave me most of what I wanted. And I will also admit that getting invaded can be extremely intense in a Dark Souls-like fashion, even though the outcome of any given invasion boils down to who can hold down the right trigger the longest and land their shots. It's again another area of squandered potential. That being said, you can easily sink around 10 to 12 hours in this game on your first playthrough, and have a lot of fun doing so. Just don't expect there to be any hooks to reel you back in, like we've seen previously with the Dishonored series. Regardless, I'm still excited to see what Arcane Studios puts out next. Here's hoping that it's something worth replaying. Thank you for watching.